The Guardian's discovery. The orbital outpost hung against the void like a tarnished jewel, its docking rings and habitat modules creating a silhouette against the azure glow of the gas giant Erebus. Commander Ilara Voss stood at the viewport of Outpost Omega's command center, her reflection ghosted against the stars beyond. 16 years of military service had etched determination into her face, but curiosity still sparked in her eyes. The same curiosity that had driven humanity from Earth to the stars. "Commander, we've detected an anomaly in Sector 7. Lieutenant Kane's voice broke through her thoughts. Energy signature doesn't match anything in our database. Ilara turned from the viewport. Derelict ship. Unknown. It's pulsing, almost like it's trying to communicate. 3 hours later, Ilara stood in the cargo bay, staring at a floating metallic sphere 2 meters in diameter. Its surface was covered in swirling patterns that seemed to move when viewed from the corner of one's eye. "It's old," said Dr. Sato, the outpost's xenoarchaeologist. "Carbon dating puts it at roughly 50,000 years, give or take a millennium." The doctor's hands moved over her scanner, not quite touching the artifact's surface. "But that's impossible. Humans weren't in space then, and the oldest known spacefaring civilization, the Araxis Collective, only achieved interstellar travel 12,000 years ago." Ilara circled the artifact. "So who built it?" "That's where it gets interesting." Sato pointed to a symbol etched into the sphere's equator. "This marking. It's Earth's ancient astronomical symbol, a circle with a cross inside." Ilara felt a chill despite the bay's regulated temperature. "That can't be right." "Check it again. I've run the comparison 16 times. It's not just similar, it's identical." 3 days of analysis yielded more questions than answers. The sphere's composition included elements not found on the periodic table, and its inner workings defied conventional physics. But the Earth symbol was only the beginning. As they decoded more of the artifact's surface, they found star maps showing trade routes spanning the galaxy, with Earth at the center. "This doesn't align with any established history," Ilara said during the briefing with her senior staff. "According to this, Earth wasn't just in space 50,000 years ago. It was the center of a vast interstellar empire." The room fell silent until Security Chief Reeves spoke. "Commander, this information is problematic. I suggest we inform Central Command and wait for instructions." Ilara nodded reluctantly. "Transmit our findings, but continue the analysis. If this artifact is authentic, it rewrites human history." The response from Central Command came faster than expected. A priority message ordering immediate cessation of all research and quarantine of the artifact pending arrival of a special envoy. Ilara read the orders twice. "They're sending someone from the diplomatic corps for an archaeological find." She got her answer the next day when a sleek diplomatic vessel docked with Outpost Omega. The special envoy wasn't human. Zaxter stood 2 meters tall, his iridescent scales shifting color with his breathing. As a representative of the Galactic Council, the presence of a Cyrillian diplomat at a remote human outpost was unprecedented. "Commander Voss," Zaxter's translator rendered his clicks and whistles into smooth, accentless standard. "I understand you've discovered something of interest." They stood in the secure lab where the sphere was now housed behind a containment field. The diplomat's 4 eyes studied the artifact with an intensity that seemed more than diplomatic curiosity. "We're still determining its significance," Ilara said carefully. "It appears to be of historical interest." "It is more than that, Commander." Zaxter turned to face her. "It is dangerous." "Dangerous how?" "It's inert." "Not all dangers are physical." The diplomat's scales darkened to a deep purple. "Some knowledge is restricted for the good of all species. The Galactic Council has protocols regarding certain historical artifacts." Ilara felt her suspicion rising. "This artifact suggests humans were spacefaring millennia before our recorded history. Why would that information be restricted?" "Earth's history is complex, Commander, more complex than you understand." Zaxter moved closer, his voice lowering. There are 14 spacefaring species in the known galaxy. All have agreed that certain knowledge from the deep past must remain sealed, including your central command. You're saying human authorities know about this? A select few. For good reason. The diplomat gestured at the sphere. This object will be transferred to Council custody. Your crew will be debriefed and reassigned. Standard procedure for contact with Class 7 artifacts. After Zaxter left to make arrangements, Ilara called an emergency meeting with Dr. Seto and her most trusted officers. Something's wrong, she told them. Why would the Council care about ancient human history? And why would our own government help suppress it? Dr. Seto looked troubled. Before the diplomat arrived, I made a discovery. The sphere contains quantum encrypted data, massive amounts of it. I only managed to decrypt a tiny fragment, but she passed Ilara a datapad. The screen showed genetic sequences, hundreds of them, side by side. I don't understand, Ilara said. The sequence on the left is human DNA, Seto explained. The others belong to various species, Ceruleans, Araxis, Voth, every major spacefaring race. The highlighting shows shared genetic markers that couldn't occur by chance. Commander, according to this data, humans didn't just have an ancient empire. They engineered the other intelligent species. The implications hit Ilara like a physical blow. We created them. More than that. The genetic markers include behavioral limiters, artificial restrictions on aggression, technological development, even cognitive patterns. Sato's voice trembled. If this is true, humans designed the other species to be subservient. Security Chief Reeves whistled low. No wonder the Council wants this buried. If other species learned they were created as, what, servants, the galactic order would collapse. Ilara made her decision. Dr. Sato, download everything you can from the artifact. Chief Reeves, prepare a security detail and our fastest shuttle. Lieutenant Kane, create a distraction when the diplomatic vessel prepares to depart. She looked at each of them. What we found changes everything. I don't know who to trust, but the truth needs to be preserved. 6 hours later, alarms blared throughout Outpost Omega. Ilara and her small team raced toward the auxiliary bay where their prepared shuttle waited. Behind them, the sound of energy weapons signaled that Zaxter's diplomatic staff had dropped all pretense. They've locked down the main corridors, Reeves shouted as they rounded a corner. We'll have to go through maintenance. They crawled through narrow access tunnels, the sounds of pursuit growing closer. Dr. Seto clutched the data drive containing their discoveries, her face pale but determined. Why aren't they just shooting us? Kane asked as they emerged into a cargo processing area. They need to know what we know and who we've told, Ilara replied, checking the corridor ahead. Dead bodies raise questions. They were halfway to the shuttle when Zaxter's voice echoed through the station's comm system. Commander Voss, you cannot escape. The Council has maintained this secret for 50 millennia. Your discovery changes nothing. They reached the shuttle bay to find 2 Cerulean guards waiting. Reeves moved without hesitation, his military reflexes sending a stunning blast into the first guard before the alien could raise his weapon. The second guard fired, catching Reeves in the shoulder. Ilara's return shot dropped the Cerulean to the deck. Get aboard, she ordered, helping the wounded Reeves toward the shuttle. Dr. Seto was already at the controls, initiating the launch sequence. The shuttle's engines roared to life as more security forces breached the bay. Energy blasts scorched the hull as Ilara sealed the airlock. The small craft lurched, breaking free of the docking clamps and shooting into space. They'll pursue, Kane said, taking the co-pilot's seat. Where are we going? Ilara studied the navigation console. The nearest human colony was 4 days away at maximum speed. Council ships would intercept them long before then. But there was another option. The fringe colonies, she decided. Independence Station. That's a smuggler haven, Reeves protested, wincing as Sato treated his wound. Exactly. No official presence, No extradition treaties. Ilara plotted the course, and plenty of people who distrust central authority. As the shuttle accelerated away from Outpost Omega, Ilara watched the diplomatic vessel growing larger on their sensors as it moved to intercept. Her hand hovered over the emergency jump initiator, an untested system designed for dire circumstances. "Everyone secure yourselves," she ordered. "This will be rough." The shuttle shuddered as the experimental drive engaged, ripping a temporary wormhole in space. The stars blurred, and Ilara's last thought before unconsciousness took her was that humanity's forgotten past was about to collide with its present, with consequences no one could predict. Reclaiming our legacy. Ilara awoke to the acrid smell of burned circuitry and the steady beep of medical monitors. Her vision cleared slowly, revealing a ceiling of exposed pipes and patched metal. Definitely not a council facility. She tried to sit up and immediately regretted it as pain lanced through her skull. "Easy, Commander." A familiar voice, Dr. Sato, moved into view. "The jump did a number on all of us. You've been unconscious for 26 hours. Independence Station." Ilara managed, her throat dry. "We made it, mostly." Sato offered a water bulb. "The shuttle's drive core is fried, and Reeves has 3 broken ribs in addition to his energy burn. But we're alive. And the data? Secure." Sato helped Ilara sit up. "I've been analyzing it while you recovered. It's incredible. The artifact contained far more than just genetic records." Ilara swung her legs over the edge of the bed, fighting off a wave of dizziness. They were in what appeared to be a makeshift medical bay, probably rented from one of the station's less reputable clinics. "Tell me," she said. "According to the records, humans weren't just an advanced civilization. They were the first." Sato's eyes gleamed with the excitement of discovery. 50,000 years ago, Earth was the center of a vast domain called the Terran Ascendancy. They had technology we can barely comprehend. True artificial intelligence, matter conversion, even the ability to manipulate the fabric of space-time. If humans were so advanced, what happened? Ilara asked, looking around for her uniform. Why did we fall back to pre-industrial technology? Why don't we remember any of this? War. Sato's excitement dimmed. The records describe a conflict called the Sundering. Apparently, the engineered species, our children, rebelled against certain restrictions. The war lasted centuries and devastated most of the galaxy. Did we lose? That's the strange part. Sato handed Ilara her cleaned uniform. According to the data, humans were winning. Then something called the Mercy Protocol was activated from Earth. It involved massive self-sabotage, genetic modifications to humans that limited certain neural pathways, technological regression protocols, and memory suppression spanning generations. Ilara paused while buttoning her jacket. "You're saying we chose to forget, to become less than we were?" The leadership believed it was the only way to break the cycle of conflict. By forgetting our power, humans would evolve again naturally, hopefully with more wisdom. Sato's expression was troubled. But the other species remembered. They formed the Galactic Council to ensure humans never regained their former status. A knock at the door interrupted them. Lieutenant Kane entered, looking haggard but alert. "Commander, we've got trouble. Council enforcers have arrived at the station. They're conducting a compartment-by-compartment search." "How did they find us so quickly?" Ilara demanded. "Tracking device in the shuttle." "Probably," Kane replied. "But I've made contact with someone who might help, a Voth named Harak. He says he's part of a group called the Truth Bearers. Can we trust him?" He knew about the artifact before I mentioned it. Said his organization has been watching for signs of the awakening for centuries. With few options, Ilara agreed to meet Harak. Hours later, they were led through the station's maze-like underlevels to a hidden chamber where representatives from 7 different species waited. The Voth, Harak, stepped forward, his reptilian features imposing even in the dim light. "Commander Voss, he said in accented standard. We have awaited this moment for generations. Ilara studied the assembled aliens. You're all risking council punishment by meeting with us. Why? Because the council's foundation is built on lies, a female Araxis said, her insectoid mandibles clicking. Some of us have always known the truth, that humans were the progenitors. That we were not just created, but hobbled. Terek nodded. The Mercy Protocol did not merely affect humans. It installed limitations in all created species, genetic blocks that prevent certain technological innovations, restrict population growth, even limit our lifespans. And you want these restrictions removed? Ilara asked cautiously. We want balance restored, Terek replied. The Council has maintained power by keeping humans ignorant and divided. Meanwhile, the genetic limiters ensure no other species can rise to challenge them. Another alien, a silicon-based life form Ilara didn't recognize, spoke through a translator. We believe the artifact you found was left deliberately by the last free humans, a fail-safe to eventually awaken your species to the truth. Sato stepped forward with her datapad. The artifact contains a sequence, a code that could theoretically reverse the neural restrictions in humans, allow access to abilities and knowledge that have been suppressed for millennia. And you want me to activate this code? Ilara looked around the chamber. Release it to humanity. It is your birthright, Terek said simply. Ilara paced the small chamber, weighing impossible choices. How do I know this isn't just another form of manipulation? What if releasing these restrictions turns humans into the conquerors we apparently once were? The Araxis female approached. The Mercy Protocol was not just about forgetting technology or history. It was about ethics, a recognition that power had corrupted your ancestors. The restrictions can be lifted without repeating past mistakes. A distant alarm interrupted the discussion. Kane rushed in from his lookout position. Council enforcers have breached this level. We have minutes at most. Terek turned to Ilara. We have a transmission array powerful enough to broadcast the awakening code to every human settlement in the sector. But we need your genetic authorization. The code was designed to activate only with pure human command. Faced with pursuit and with time running out, Ilara made her decision. Do it. But broadcast our evidence too, the full history, not just the activation code. All species deserve to know the truth, not just humans. The next few minutes were chaos as the truth-bearers rushed to prepare their hidden transmitter. Sato worked frantically to compile the data while Reeves and Kane prepared to defend their position. Ilara placed her palm on the authentication scanner, her DNA unlocking the final encryption on the awakening code. Broadcast initiating, Terek announced as the transmission array hummed to life, reaching all human settlements within 60 light-years. The chamber door exploded inward. Council enforcers poured through the breach, weapons ready. Zaxter followed them, his scales now an angry crimson. Stop the transmission, he commanded. You have no idea what forces you're unleashing. Ilara stood her ground as Reeves and Kane returned fire. It's too late. The truth is already spreading. Truth, Zaxter hissed. You think this is about keeping humans subjugated. The Mercy Protocol wasn't imposed on humanity. It was humanity's final gift to the galaxy. Energy blasts filled the chamber as the firefight intensified. Ilara ducked behind the transmitter, which continued its broadcast despite the chaos. What are you talking about? She demanded. Your ancestors weren't just powerful, they were unstoppable. Zaxter shouted over the noise. The engineered races rebelled not against servitude, but against extinction. The Terran ascendancy was consuming entire systems for resources, terraforming populated worlds without regard for native life. A blast caught one of the truth-bearers, dropping the alien where he stood. Terek and the others returned fire with increasing desperation. The Mercy Protocol was created by human dissidents, Zaxter continued. They saw what their species was becoming and chose limitation over continued dominance. They sacrificed their power to save the galaxy, including their own humanity. The transmitter chimed. The broadcast was complete. In that same moment, Ilara felt something change within her mind. It was subtle at first, a clarity of thought, connections forming where none had existed before. Around her, the firefight paused as the enforcers received urgent communications. "It's happening across the sector," one enforcer reported. "Human neural patterns are changing." Zaxter lowered his weapon, his scales fading to a defeated gray. "We're too late." Ilara stood, experiencing the strange sensation of memories that weren't hers surfacing. Knowledge accumulated over thousands of years of human evolution and advancement. But with it came not hunger for power, but understanding, a profound comprehension of past mistakes and future possibilities. "You're wrong about what's happening," she told Zaxter. "The awakening isn't just removing limitations, it's restoring balance." Throughout the station, and across human settlements throughout the sector, people were experiencing the same awakening. Not a desire for dominance, but a remembrance of responsibility. The genetic modifications weren't just restricting human potential, they were suppressing the wisdom that came with it. In the days that followed, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session as reports flooded in of humans displaying advanced cognitive abilities, intuitive understanding of technologies long thought impossible, and most surprisingly, a deep empathy for all life forms. The truth-bearers emerged as mediators between the awakened humans and the fearful council. 3 weeks after the transmission, Ilara stood on the observation deck of Independence Station, watching ships from a dozen worlds dock in a display of unity not seen in millennia. "The Council has agreed to negotiations," Tarek said, joining her at the viewport. "They're calling it the New Covenant, and the other genetic restrictions for the engineered species being studied. Your scientists believe they can be removed safely, allowing all species to reach their potential without the flaws that led to the ancient conflicts." Ilara watched as a massive Earth vessel, the first built with recovered technology, moved into orbit around the station. Its design was both new and somehow familiar, as though drawn from racial memory. "We have a second chance," she said quietly, "to build something better than the Terran ascendancy. Not an empire based on domination, but a true federation of equals. From the ashes of forgotten history, a new future," Tarek agreed. As Earth's forgotten children came home to their legacy, the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. Not in fear this time, but in anticipation of what humanity and its created family might accomplish together, wisdom tempered by 50,000 years of separation and reflection. The throne that had remained vacant for so long awaited not a conqueror, but a guardian. And this time, humanity was ready for the responsibility.